Hey, I have a second channel, Cube Computer Plexi. Hey everybody. So there's actually a way that you can install Windows 11 on computers that are definitely older than the minimum hardware requirements. So in this video, we're going to be installing Windows 11 on the Cube Computer Plexi. So the Plexi is actually way older than the minimum requirements for Windows 11. The Plexi sports an AMD Athlon 2 dual-core CPU on a socket AM3 motherboard. So we're talking 2009-2010 era hardware. It's got 4 gigs of DDR3 memory. So yeah, again, 2010 era components, way older than the minimum required for Windows 11. This system does not even have UEFI. It is a classic MBR, you name it, non-UEFI BIOS. So what we're going to do here is we have the installation files for Windows 10 and Windows 11 side by side. So what we can do here is on our Windows 10 USB backup, we'll navigate into here, the x64 folder, go to sources, and all we got to do is look for install.wim. Okay, so our Windows 10 installation media over here has an install.esd and not an install.wim. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert the Windows 11 install.wim into an install.esd. ESD. So I've copied over the install.wim for Windows 11 over to a folder on the desktop, and I'm going to go ahead and launch command prompt. Run as administrator. Okay, so what we got to do now first is we need to enter the following command. I'm actually getting this information off of xdadevelopers.com. I'll put a link in the description. Okay, so what we got to do is we got to change this path here. Okay. And you can see there's a whole bunch of different options here. So we're going to choose Windows 11 Pro. And like I say, there's a whole bunch in here. There's a Windows 11 Home, Windows 11 Home In, Windows 11 Home Single Language, Windows 11 Education, Education In, blah blah blah. We're going to choose Windows 11 Pro. So keep that in mind, index number 6. Okay, again, we're going to use number 6, so I got a new string to add in here. And this is a long one, and we got to change some stuff. So let's keep that in mind. We got to change, again, several things here. Copy our path here to the folder that we're working in. So we've changed that. Need to change the capital index to 6. Destination file will be, I just about messed up. No, actually no. Doing it right. Alright. So here we just need to again paste in our directory there. So we've got the source image file there. We've changed the index to 6. We've included the destination file name, location, blah blah blah. Alright, here goes nuts, and let's see how this goes. Alright, so it's going to export the image, and this may take a little bit, so we'll come back when it's done. Okay, so I've created my new install.esd file. This is the old one for Windows 10. I'm going to place that in a separate folder on the desktop to back it up. Okay, so now we have that backed up. We'll go ahead and grab our new file. And we'll just copy it over here into this folder right here. We'll replace the file. Next, we need to just go ahead and wipe everything off of the USB stick. And we'll just delete. The funny thing about SanDisk USB flash drives is some of them tell the computer they're actually like a hard disk drive. That's why it prompted to send to the recycling bin instead of actually deleting. Alrighty, so now what we're going to do is we're going to copy everything over. We really don't need the 32-bit, so we'll just skip that. We're only dealing with the 64. And we'll go ahead and copy and paste that over there into the USB drive, and we'll let that complete. Okay, so I've gotten the files copied over, and I should mention that if your Windows 10 installation files were set up for just 64-bit, you wouldn't have this x64 and x86 folders. You would just have pretty much how the Windows 11 files were set up. So okay, so I got the USB drive plugged into the Plexi. So the Plexi has two hard drives. It has a 1 terabyte drive that's used all the time for the Windows 10 installation that's on this computer, and there's also a 120 gigabyte secondary drive that typically gets used just for testing stuff out, or if I'm building like a Windows installation image or whatever, I'll use that secondary hard drive for stuff like that. So what we got to do is I'm going to shut down the system, and what we got to do is disconnect the SATA cable for the primary drive. So we're going to let this thing shut down. Yeah, it's got to see which cable feeds the primary drive, and it's the one with the small plug on it. So it'd be this one right here. I just pop that out. These don't have the little connectors on the little metal tabs on them, so they can just come right out. And I do this that way it doesn't confuse anything involving the boot order, because I've seen Windows 10. Well, yeah, Windows 10, for example, when you go to if I were to leave the primary drive hooked up, and I go to select a new drive to install Windows 10 on, it will not create the actual recovery partition because it sees there's one on the main hard drive, so for some reason it just doesn't do it. So what I have to do is I have to disconnect the primary drive and leave just a secondary drive hooked up. Once I get Windows installed, I can then plug the main drive back in, and then I can actually use the motherboard's boot menu to select the drive to boot from. So I'm going to start this up and let's see what happens. Now, last I checked, there wasn't anything installed on the other drive. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so I'm going to reconfigure this drive, because I guess when I put on the files for Windows 11, it configured it as a UEFI boot mode. So be right back in a sec. Okay, so I've went ahead and got the drive fixed, the flash drive. So now it should be able to boot onto the USB drive. So we're going to start the Plexi back up and give this another try. Select our USB drive. Choose 64-bit. It'll be interesting to see how setup looks. I mean, this is my first time ever trying this. Kind of wonder if it's going to show Windows 10 throughout the whole process, or if it's going to actually show Windows 11 stuff. Who knows? Alright, so let's proceed through setup as usual. Skip the product key part. And you can see we did not have to select an operating system. You can see the last update on the terms. We have last updated June 2021. So let's just scroll through a little bit of this. See if we see Windows 11 reference in there anywhere. And I'm just quickly going through this, so I may not see it. Yeah, whoever reads this, whoever reads through all this. Anyways, accept the terms, click next. We'll choose custom install, select new and apply, select OK. So it's installing in MBR mode. I mean, this computer, it only supports MBR. It doesn't even have a UEFI firmware. It has a classic BIOS on the motherboard. And I should mention that this secondary hard drive, it's just 120 gigabytes. It's not a very fast drive. This is one of those Seagate drives that heavily favor keeping the drive quiet versus having it perform. The other drive that's in the Plexi is a 1 terabyte Western Digital Enterprise class drive. It's an older drive, probably from around 2007, 2008 maybe, something like that. It's definitely kind of up there in age. I do have a second one of the drives around here somewhere, but one thing you may notice is the Plexi's very audible hard drive. Like, you'll hear it seeking and doing stuff a lot of times. As a matter of fact, the drive is right here. I have two of them because I think they were set up in a RAID configuration in the computer that they came out of. So it's a Western Digital. You see, it's installing, by the way. Western Digital, 1 terabyte, 64 meg cache, enterprise storage. So definitely a nice drive. So okay, I was a little off on the date. It's from 2011. Yeah, a 1 terabyte drive in 2008 would be rather expensive. I mean, they did have. I mean, I think I did work on a computer before that had a 750 gig hard drive from 2007, 2008. Yeah, I think it's 2008. Anyways, I'll let this install and we'll continue on when it's done. Okay, guys, so I interrupted the installation process when it went to reboot the machine because I was actually went to make some popcorn and wanted to do a video update on a Rapid Brands popcorn popper, so I stole the camera for that. So now that we're back, we're going to start the Plexi back up and let's continue the installation process. And you can see we have the new Windows 11 boot logo. This did not show in the previous Windows 11 videos because this other computer I installed it on had a UEFI BIOS which would show the ASRock logo instead. So here we have Windows 11 booting up on a socket AM3 platform system. Now again, I should mention this hard drive, this old Seagate 120 gig hard drive is not a performer. So speed wise, it's going to probably take a long time to boot up and to load certain things. But it shouldn't really be seen as a reflection on how well the Plexi can run it, because if I were to install it on an SSD, it would probably scream. So we'll let this finish up here. Okay, everybody, so now we're in setup. I've went ahead and disconnected our internet, our Ethernet cable. And since we're on Windows 11 Pro, we won't need to do the trick to get around the block which you have on Windows 11 Home. And what's amazing is even in Windows 11, it does not ask you one important question. Or actually two important questions in this matter. Number one, it doesn't have you set the computer name in the out-of-box experience setup like it did in Windows 7 and Windows Vista. It also does not allow you to set, it does not even ask you to set the date and time here in this part, which I think those kinds of questions are way more important than this stuff right here, or at least some of it. Skip to high, we're setting things up for you. As you can see, it's went ahead and toyed around with the date and time of the system. And one thing that's absolutely frustrating about this is it actually does alter the motherboard time. So if you're dual booting OSs, then one shifts the date and time back, the other OS would have to shift it back where it needs to be. And of course, y'all may know what I'm doing here. I'm gonna kill OneDrive setup. Okay, that should theoretically stop it from coming up on its own. And we'll just have to wait for Windows Explorer to come up. There we are. Probably should have left that up, but hey. As I mentioned, the big reason why this thing is running so slow is, again, that hard drive. It's this way with Windows 10. It's that way with Windows 7. And that's why, to be honest, that's why I put that hard drive into Plexi for this use, is because it hardly ever gets used. I would not put that hard drive into a computer and sell it because it's slow. I think it has maybe 8 megabytes of onboard cache. And there's our taskbar. Let's get Task Manager back up here and I can show you what's going on here. So if we go to Performance, you'll see Disk 0 hard drive. It's pretty much wide open. CPU usage is not that bad. It's the Athlon 2. Dual core 245E CPU, overclocked to 3.62 gigahertz. So it's got a pretty massive overclock on it. And that definitely has helped performance of this processor. And let me tell you, it really did seem to wake up its performance quite a bit. I think it's normally a 2.9 gigahertz CPU. I think that's the stock clock, and here it is running at 3.6. So yeah, a definite improvement there. So we're going to go ahead and let this connect up to the network and download driver updates and stuff, and we'll come back and have another look. Okay, everybody, so I've let the system run for a little while, and it seems to have gotten, I'd say, at least the majority of the drivers installed. Because if we go to a device manager, there's one unknown device, not sure what that is, but we have our drivers for example, our graphics, our sound, which, let's see, And the funny thing is, like I said, that hard drive, things take a little bit longer to pull up, so. Anyways. Oh, it's interesting to note, I was in the previous Windows 11 video, I was kind of grappling that you apparently had to go into settings to get stuff like your notification settings and stuff, but there is apparently still an option if you click on like the speaker down here. Yeah, it's funny. Okay, so that's all there. Alright, so anyways, device manager has the drivers for like our sound, our video, that kind of stuff. I'll look into settings. I'll show you a few things. So we're in the home page of settings. And I should note that this computer has a Windows 10 digital license already. So when I plugged into the network, it activated Windows 11 using that digital license. So interesting to note, even on a system that does not meet the requirements, it's not an issue, and it will still activate. So interesting to know. We go to About and look at the specifications here. You'll see again the AMD Athlon 2 dual core 245E CPU running at 3.63 gig, 4 gigs of installed RAM. So it just meets the requirements for memory. CPU core count should meet the requirements, but the actual CPU does not. This system does not have secure boot. It does not even have UEFI. So, and it also does not have TPM. I'm going to go fetch the files to install PC Health Check, and we'll have a look at that. Okay, so we'll run setup for Windows PC Health Check. And we'll go ahead and launch it. So I can't say other than, of course, the slow hard drive that we have here. It seems like Windows 11 is actually running really well on this hardware. Although I guess I could say it would be a little bit slower than Windows 10, but you know, like I mentioned, Windows 10, if I install that on this hard drive, it's also just as painstakingly slow. And we're going to see a lot of red X's here in this PC Health Check for Windows 11 compatibility. When it comes up, and when that'll be, this, again, for example, Task Manager, you can see the our disk usage is pegged 100%. And there is a model of the hard drive, ST3120213AS. So ST31200213AS. Alright, so introducing Windows 11. Yeah, we're on Windows 11. So check now, and it's going to show me a lot of red X's. This PC must support Secure Boot, TPM 2.0 must be supported and enabled, and the processor isn't currently supported for Windows 11. Well, but yet we're running Windows 11. Still results. There's at least 4 gigs of RAM. System disk is at least 64 gigs. Processor has 2 or more cores. Processor clock speed is 1 GHz or faster. So yeah, it's again, the Secure Boot and the TPM and that just that flatline CPU requirement. But all the things that actually matter performance-wise for Windows 11, it seems like it meets those just fine. So really, you think about Windows 11 can run on a whole lot more computers than what the hardware requirements allow it to do. So I think I talked about this a little bit in my previous Windows 11 video where I set it up on this computer right here next to me. to me, this AMD A6 6420K system. It's almost like these requirements for Windows 11. It kind of reminds me of how Microsoft back in 2016 was talking about how the free Windows 10 upgrade, how it would expire in a year, but it never actually expired. It just they quit pushing the Get Windows 10 marketing at that time. And you can see we're having to change the date and time back to Eastern time. I mean, it's great and all if you're in California or Oregon or Washington State where you have Pacific time. But if you're in a different time zone, this is just frustrating. Why on earth does Microsoft not prompt you to set the date and time zone in the out-of-box experience? The last OS to do this was Windows 7. They got rid of it in Windows 8. It wasn't there in Windows 8.1. It wasn't there in Windows 10. And it's not there in Windows 11. I'll just never understand it, guys. But they're more concerned about those little toggles, those little toggle options for like your ad settings and stuff like that. And it's like, come on. But yeah. Again. So as I was saying, in Microsoft back in 2016, they basically told everybody, in order to get Windows 10 for free on Windows 7 or Windows 8.1, you need to upgrade by summer 2016, roughly a year after Windows 10 was released. But once that date came along, the actual free upgrade part never went away. Matter of fact, to this day, you can still activate Windows 10 with a Windows 7 license. And so I don't think that's ever going to go away, really. And how that relates to the total requirements for Windows 11, it's almost like they're saying, hey, you need this amount of, well, not amount of, but you need this specific CPU or battery, or you need this, you need to have TPM 2.0, you need to have Secure Boot, you need to have UEFI, when in theory, the OS will run just fine without all the above. We don't have TPM, we don't have Secure Boot, and we are not even running on a UEFI system. So, yeah, it's crazy, guys. So, the key thing, the key concern again is Windows Update support. Will you get security updates? That's kind of a question. You see, we have driver updates. We have cumulative updates for the OS and components. We have definition files. We have malicious software removal tools. We have all of that stuff. It's in there. It's being downloaded to this computer. Now I have to question. I mean, the only computer that at least in my possession or my parents' possession that we have, I know is Windows 11 compatible as of right now, would be the Black Max. The Black Max has a Ryzen 2000 series APU setup with the minimum RAM requirements, and its motherboard supports Secure Boot and TPM, and of course the processor supports TPM 2.0. So theoretically, it should meet those requirements. And that's something we'll talk about my parents about here soon, is if they will be interested in going up to Windows 11. I might do it on the mid-tower Lux, even though the CPU is technically not supported, but I'm going to probably do it anyway, based off the experience I'm having right now on the Plexi, as well as this AMD A6 system we have here. It's, like I say, Windows 11, I just did a sort of a review of it. It wasn't super in-depth and didn't cover every single little thing, but I did focus on a lot of the things that people were talking about in regards to the OS. And it's not exactly something I would be in a real big hurry to upgrade to, although I might upgrade to it pretty soon. Who knows? But, anyways, for wrapping up this video, let's go ahead and do a restart. Now, as I have mentioned again, the hard drive in this system is just not that great. And oh yeah, you can see we've got a lot more stuff in here now than what we had originally. That's what it does. It goes and downloads a lot of these things like Facebook, Instagram, Prime Video, TikTok, all this stuff. It downloads it, installs it. And the crazy thing, guys, is back in the day, I used to gripe so much about OEMs like HP and Dell for preloading so much bloat into a normally clean slate, Windows 7 or Windows XP, for example. But now they don't even have to do that because Microsoft takes care of it for them. I mean, look at all this preloaded stuff that gets installed. It's just crazy. Anyways, let's restart and let's show the boot up time on this, which is going to be painstakingly slow again because of this hard drive. And yeah, the primary goal here was just to see if you could install Windows 11 on such an old computer. A system that does not have even a UEFI BIOS. Okay guys, so we are almost there. You can see the icons haven't populated on the taskbar just yet. And this little Seagate 120 gig hard drive is just going wide open. So I guess I can say this may not be the last non-UEFI system I may try this on. I may actually dig out the computer that has the former mid-tower Lux hardware. I still have that machine here. It's the AMD FX 8120 system. and it's actually on a socket AM3 board that supports AM3 Plus CPUs with the BIOS update. It's a AMD 890FX chipset board. Yeah, we got our icons there now. So that is installing and running Windows 11 on the Cube Computer Plexi, a non-UEFI system, socket AM3, Athlon 2, dual-core CPU, roughly 2010 era hardware. I think the graphics card there is a GTX 640, something like that. Or GT 640, I can't remember for sure. Yeah, GT 640. Yeah, this older hardware running Windows 11, and with the exception of that painfully slow hard disk drive, I'd say it ran it pretty well. So, again, it just comes to show exactly how many computers out there these insanely high requirements, hardware requirements, are shutting out from the OS. Therefore, I could see this OS not having very good adoption rates, because a lot of people, especially those with computers that are maybe like 5 years old, like Ryzen 1000, like Mid-Tower Lux, or for example 7th gen Intel Core systems, stuff that's not terribly old, people aren't going to exactly give that up right away for a new computer just to get Windows 11. They're likely going to install it anyway and just give those hardware requirements the big finger. So anyways, and of course in the center there is a computer that we did the test up of Windows 11 on last. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Well everybody, that wraps it up for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Computer channel, and be sure to tick that bell so you'll get notified when new videos are posted. Also, don't forget, I have a whole lot of other interesting videos here on the channel to check out. And also, in addition, I have a second channel, Cube MTDX, where I have all sorts of other videos not exactly related to technology. Links to the channels are available at the end of this video. Again, I thank you for your support, and thanks for watching this video.